currently streaming on Disney Plus is Tales of the Jedi. Is it worth the watch or a waste of time? Darn. Oh, I was going to do Superman song for some reason. Damn, John Williams.
Or John Williams.
Guys, as always, check our description below to see how you can save money on gas, groceries, restaurants, and also if you would like to help save a life, check the description below to find out how. Spoilers, currently streaming on Disney Plus is Tales of a Jedi. This was originally a comic book series through Dark Horse, and I'm not sure if Marvel has taken over that series or continues with that series. I know Dark Horse owned the rights of Star Wars for a while, Dark Horse Comics, that is, and they did a few series. There are some audiobooks as well on Tales of the Jedi, where it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers. It has nothing to do with Palpatine. Actually, it's like thousands of years ahead, the Skywalker saga. It goes so far back that lightsabers had like a battery pack attached to it with a wire.
They called them proto lightsabers. It basically is like a cross between a lightsaber and the Ghostbuster backpack. They had to carry around a backpack in order to generate it, which seems very impractical.
Right, but also that it got to a point on certain series that I read that it was even smaller. Like it got, a modified smaller, but it still had attached a cable.
Yeah.
And I guess you can attach that to in the sense of in A New Hope, Obi-Wan meets Vader for the last time. There's a wire coming out of the hilt of Obi-Wan to make it glow or shine, what have you, or to make it spin, whatever it was they did back in the day. So I guess they used that as a influence on those stories back then. Like I said before, the Tales of the Jedi storyline, there were many stories. There's a couple arcs. I can't remember off the top of my head the characters' names, but again, there are full dramatized audiobooks, omnibuses, and graphic novels of Tales of the Jedi. I had the Dark Horse versions. Here in the series is, sadly to say, or depending who you are, maybe you enjoyed it, they gave us something not necessarily new, meaning not really new characters. It was just 3, maybe 4 characters that they looked at. You have the past of how like Count Dooku became, I guess, Count Dooku or turned to the dark side. How Qui-Gon Jinn got his influence because he was a Padawan of Count Dooku. You also have Yaddle, the Yoda female version, to her part shine there. And you have Ahsoka. There's separate stories, but they follow each one in a sense of the character, like how there's certain episodes just with Count Dooku, and there's some episodes with just Ahsoka. I don't know. For me personally, it was an enjoyable series. It's the first season is about 6 episodes. They're about 20 minutes long, if you don't count the credits. Personally, I could have done without the Count Dooku story, the Ahsoka thing. Even though I'm a big fan of Star Wars, I personally would have loved to seen other stories of other characters that they could have made canon. Because the Tales of the Jedi storyline is so good. I can't remember the names, but there's like a storyline where there's a Padawan. He sucks. He's terrible. He always makes mistakes, but I guess it's part of the Force working with him. And he figures out that the Jedi that he's serving under are all corrupted. They're bad cops. Now, you don't know about you were not aware of Tales of Jedi, right?
No, I didn't really read it too much.
The comic book, that is.
As far as the comic book, I don't really read it too much. I am going to say that it is legend. It's not canon. Because when Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, that was like one of the first things they did. And the whole copyright owning, publishing thing, it's a weird thing because there are Star Wars comics that are owned by Marvel even before Disney bought it. And then it's been back and forth depending on which version of Star Wars in the comics you're reading. So it's a weird situation when you get into that.
Well, when Star Wars came out originally, Marvel did some issues, some storylines way back then.
Exactly. And I have a couple of those.
Yeah, and they stopped, and then Dark Horse, like I said, got the rights to continue making stories, and they made
Hmm.
some of the novels into comic book form. And then when Disney bought Star Wars, again, like you said, exactly right. They made some of those stories canon. They made some of them legend, and then they created their own, of course. But
Exactly.
what? But since you are not familiar with Tales of the Jedi original comic book, how did you feel with this?
I came in with an untainted mind, a pure mind, freshness. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, drop the first and last episode. I would have been fine.
Drop the first and the last.
Yo.
Wow. Okay. Okay. To go into the best episode was actually the last one.
See, I wasn't really that hooked on, and maybe because I was like, maybe I had dozing.
Well, that tells a lot.
I could have
Short
been
episode.
I could have been dozing off at the last episode, but I wasn't really feeling the last episode. My takeaway from watching it was it centralized the first and last two episodes focused on Ahsoka Tano. The episodes that caught my attention the most was Count Dooku.
Really?
Well,
I
I'll explain.
mean,
I'll explain why, because we get a lot of Ahsoka through Clone Wars,
right.
through
Right.
Rebels, through all
Hmm.
these other stuff. Honestly, how much stuff do we know about Dooku and like his involvement and everything? We got him from the movies and a couple scenes
Hmm.
in Clone Wars, but he's always
Hmm.
been like almost royal like character. Like, even though I'm a Jedi, I'm working for the Sith. Here, you're getting the actual lore, you're getting the stuff, and you get the answer to what happened to Yaddle. I want to say in the Legends stories, Yaddle gets
Hmm.
buried under rubble, and but here it's kind of close to that, but like she gets like this like badass moment before she dies. So you see the fall of a Jedi. In some arguments, a better fall, because he doesn't go full Sith. Like he kind of goes gray in the
Right.
sense like he's like, I'm doing this and I know it sucks, and so many lives are being sacrificed for this, but I really do believe this is going to be the betterment for the galaxy, and sacrifices have to be
Right.
made.
Well, that's how he was in the prequels.
True, but I'm saying like you're seeing him get to that point. You're seeing the development of that, like
Right.
where even to the point where he's like, "That was my apprentice. You've gone too far. Like you can't do this." And you see Palpatine just manipulating him in the back and right there to his face. Is like, but sacrifices must be made. You claim to want to better the universe, but yet you're willing to not make the sacrifices necessary. I lost an apprentice too. Just for that, I was more intrigued by that. And then the training sequence with Ahsoka, I just like that one. There's a little run on,
Okay.
but like I just got a kick out of it. Ahsoka just felt out of place for the Tales of the Jedi.
So I see what you're saying, but I have to disagree because this is, another creation from Dave Filoni.
Yep.
He's gone full George Lucas in the sense of explaining every single thing of almost every character that there is. Lucas did that with the prequels. Granted, the explanations here are far better than what how George Lucas did, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know how these people became about. It doesn't grab my attention. I just know they're evil, they're bad, or they're good. That's all. And if they're in the middle, that's okay too. Like in the original trilogy, we had Palpatine. We didn't have any history about Palpatine. All we knew that he was the main bad guy. He was Vader's boss. Also with Vader, we didn't know that much about him. All we knew that he was a bad mofo and then happened to be Luke's father.
True.
And then with the prequels, it goes into detail. And then with Snook in the sequels, when they took Snook out in the Last Jedi, people were like, "But who is he? How come we don't find out who he is?" Like, who gives a damn? Knowing how he became Snook, it does not really push the story along. You know that he's the bad guy. He is Kylo's master.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. That he's trying to destroy the rebellion. That he's trying to make the galaxy as one under the new order. Why do you need to know how he became? We didn't know how Palpatine became in the original. Actually, we don't even know how he became Darth Sidious in the prequels. So all we know is that that's who he is.
True.
And when people were like, well, I got it, it's like, screw that. Don't worry about that. It's like, so people are so spoiled and they have to know everything. That why not have the air of mystery? Let your imagination go wild. Why does every freaking thing needs to be explained? And with these Tales of the Jedi, they did that. Yes, I agree. The first episode of Ahsoka,
That could have been lost. We didn't really
that didn't that was not needed. That wasn't needed. I did like the second episode with Count Dooku,
young
where
Dooku.
he is like tosses Qui-Gon to the side because it's like, no, I'm gonna handle this my way, the right way, or the way he sees fit. Choices was okay. That's the third episode with Mace Windu. That was kind of cool seeing that bond, and I did like Yaddle episode, but for me, it's like, okay, if she's supposed to be the same species of Yoda, she doesn't talk like him.
No one ever said that's a species thing about talking like that, because you only see 3 of his species if you including Yoda, Yaddle, Yoda, and Grogu. And Grogu can't talk yet.
I understand that, but you would think that is a language that species speaks.
Maybe
But
Yoda just has a speech impediment.
maybe that could be it because Yaddle was speaking fine, all coherent, easy to understand, and stuff like that. I was like, okay. Now for me, the one with Ahsoka being trained, eh, I was like, I can understand it, you know, and what Luke says, or not Luke, what Anakin says.
I'm training you this way because this is life or death. And if you
Right.
can survive these guys, you can survive most anything with a blaster. And it goes full circle because it picks up where we left off the last of Clone Wars, or
It's not last off, but it's like a missing episode.
it ties back in because that the last part of the
Oh
episode,
well, yeah.
it picks up where the end of Clone Wars was, where she's escaping the ship with Rex.
But again, see, but is it needed in the sense of that? Because we see her handle herself. Why do we have to see a training session of that? And again, that goes back into the Obi-Wan series where we see Obi-Wan and Anakin train when he's a Padawan. We don't, again, something we don't like a moment that no one asked for. But for me, the last episode was really cool because of the Inquisitor and how he looked and how he was brushed. Now, granted, how he was taken out was real quick, but I did like that where it kind of ties in with Obi-Wan, where she's trying to hide, trying not to expose herself, but she has to. And that's, I think, like the beginning of Ahsoka, the live action.
Not the Rebels?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry about that. You're right about that. But it could be part of that too, in the sense of like, because that can lead to Rebels.
Well,
that could lead to Rebels, correct? And then
here's why I say it's the Rebels, because also there was a thing like, remember Rebels, her lightsaber was white. It wasn't yellow, or it was a unique color.
And this was white here, right?
Was it white? I thought it was a different
color. It was white at the end. I think it was white. And she had 2 of them. She pulled out 2.
Yeah.
No, that was in the training. No, sorry, that was in the
training. But it came. I found out that she got her 2 white lightsabers from defeating an Inquisitor and repurposing the kyber crystal that was originally used and essentially purifying it. And then that turned it white. I'm a little bit hazy about the last episode, so I may be wrong about the color scheme on that. I don't think she was using. I don't think she was using a white one. I could be wrong though.
I can't remember. Me too. I could be wrong. You could be right. I could be wrong. Now, what I do appreciate is that you have the returning voice actors of Rebels, of Clone Wars, and of the original films. So you have here returning as Dooku, Corey Burton, Ashley Eckstein, as Ahsoka, D. Bradley Baker as Captain Rex, and then you also have Matt Lanter as Anakin again, which I think his interpretation of Anakin is so much better than Hayden's. Hayden is so empty and so blah, where Matt here brought life to Anakin. Personally, I prefer the Clone Wars version of Anakin than Hayden any day of the week. You also have Phil Lamar playing Bail Organa. Phil Lamar we know as Samurai
Samurai
Jack,
Jack,
right?
John Stewart.
And you have other ones. You have Brian George, a famous Indian actor. You also have returning James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan. You have Terrence T.C. Carson as Mace Windu, and we know him as original Kratos from God of War. He is the original.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah, he was also in that show called Living Single way back in the day with Queen Latifah and all that stuff.
Oh my God! Yes. As
Yeah,
soon as you said that, the face came up to me. I'm like, oh wow.
You also have Theo Rossi from Luke Cage.
You're talking about Shades.
Yes, exactly. And we also have here from the original films, we have Liam Neeson reprising his role as Qui-Gon Jinn. And you also have here is Darth Sidious himself, Ian McDermott. You have those guys coming back to this. So I did appreciate that. That was a nice touch, but that's pretty much it.
So basically,
that's
you wanted Star Wars stories, but you wanted it to be like visions, not like not like a what if, but you wanted like how Star Wars Visions was, where you had alternate stories not centralized on the main characters for the most part, and it was background stories. Here, they were going background stories, but on main characters that you're already familiar with. You wanted new characters.
I did, because again, Star Wars is a galaxy. And what is a galaxy? Something huge. And there are so many characters out there. I find it silly where you treat a galaxy as if it's Cheers, a bar where everyone knows your name, or you're in a planet where everyone's in Jersey, everyone's from Jersey.
Yeah, that's fair.
Expand it, let it happen. The Tales of the Jedi stories, the comic book version, are so good in its own right.
How's this for an idea? Like, what if instead of Tales of the Jedi, they just did Tales of the Sith? Because there's a lot of lore. It would have been the same idea. And like Palpatine's Jedi Sith Master, I forget his name.
I don't mind that.
Yeah,
I don't mind it. It could be Tales of the Sith. It could be Tales of the Jedi. The thing is, like if they treated each episode individually of one specific Jedi, like they did in Visions, they had one specific story per episode.
Mm-hmm.
If they did that there, or maybe say they do like an Avengers kind of thing where you have one story of one Jedi, you have another story of one Jedi, and then at the last episode, they all come together. They meet. They had to fight. They had to face a force. Multiple Jedis are needed.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice. That would have been cool. That would have been refreshing. But again, Dave Filoni is now. I understand. He's busy. He's working with the Mando series with
Favreau,
Iron Man director. Favreau, yes, thank you. Favreau.
Okay.
He has that. I'm not sure if he's still doing Book of Boba Fett, but he has that. He has the Bad Batch. Second season is coming.
True.
And he did this.
Andor's his baby too, right?
I don't think Andor is Dave Filoni.
Oh, okay.
Again, but the thing is, like, when you're so spread, now you have people like Stephen King who can write multiple projects and have different directions with that, where Dave is now not being, in my opinion, not as being as original as he originally started or as he started. These episodes, okay, it was appreciated, but a lot of it was not needed. For like, again, I agree with you. Episode 1, not needed. And episode 5, in my opinion, was not needed. And that's the one with the training, I believe.
It definitely, the show could be condensed more. Yeah, but it sounds like even though you weren't a big fan of the idea of Count Dooku, you were at least interested. Like, you just wanted it to be more expansive.
I want to be more expansive of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
That's why I want to expand. Again, the story of Dooku, it wasn't needed on several episodes. 1, maybe 2 episodes. Fine. Like, you could have done the one where he's Justice, right? You could have done that episode. And then you could have done the one where he fights Yaddle.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. You could have done without that life and death with the story
Without
of
the I keep wanting to call him
Ahsoka.
Samuel Jackson. That one
Well,
episode.
choices are okay. Choices are okay. I mean, but not really needed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That could have been skipped.
Make the Tales of the Jedi, the original books, make a canon. You don't have to use all of them, but take one story arc, and formulate that into a series. And you're like, oh wow. And
So
show like the old Jedi, show the old masters who they were. Because one of them was like a freaking lion. The other one was like, I think it was like an elephant or one of those things with the sand people ride. Like it was like one of those. Like that's how far back they were, and who were Jedi or strong in the Force.
well, that
And
was
then
the
they
thing.
have
Like
you,
you're
or you could
right.
have
They
done
could have done
this.
this. Go ahead.
The holocron. The holocron could have been a source to tell the stories of the Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, because they
You
had that
have
both for the Sith and the Jedi themselves, and like
right,
it could have been
and
like one of those
so,
kind of like the Tales of the Watcher kind of situation, but it's like being told by a holocron.
or you could done like this, like say you were kids, like Padawans, like before Order 66
Mm-hmm.
was announced, you could have like Padawans sitting, and you have the hologram opening up to tell a story
Yeah.
of one. Like this is a Jedi Master, blah blah blah, or and he tells a tale. That would have been cool. Oh, to talk about that before Order 66, did you notice one of the Padawans that's also in the Bad Batch?
One of the better ones.
That's also in Rebels?
One of the better ones. The one from Fallen Order.
No, not what was that him?
The one
No,
that
I don't
first
think he's
episode of
right.
Bad Batch, he got away.
Right, not Fallen Order. He's from Rebels. He is the freaking the one that was blinded,
Oh yeah, no,
played by
that's the
Freddie Prinze Jr.
that's the one that got away. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't get
He
it.
gets blinded, but he's on Rebels, and he was on the first episode of Bad Batch because he was the one that escaped.
Right,
Mhm.
Canon Jarvis, whatever. But also, I forgot. So the person who voiced Yaddle
Yeah.
was, you know who it was?
No,
Oh my god!
I don't follow voice actors too often.
But she's not just a voice actress. She's also director and the daughter of Ron Howard, Bryce Dallas Howard. She directed several episodes for The Mandalorian.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of cool. Where one of the directors was also one of the voice actors for. I mean, she is an actress. She was in the Jurassic World films, all that stuff. So let's end this now. I think we've talked about. I mean, it's not that much really further to go on in the sense of these episodes for the first season. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
there's only 6 episodes. They're about 20 minutes long. They're not long at all. They're more like short stories, or in this case, short episodes. Maybe they made the episodes longer, like almost 30 minutes. Then maybe I would appreciate it more. It was just like they just gave a taste and then kept going.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't a total fan of this series or these 6 episodes, again, I love animation. I love Star Wars.
I mean, the animation looked good.
Oh, the animation looked amazing, I thought.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job. But again, and that thing, it was just short. So, ratings. Is it worth the watch?
I honestly, I could say you could pass it. It's not
And I
necessary.
and I totally agree. It is not worth the watch, really, unless you need to know every single thing of how certain characters came to be. Then this is the one for you.
And so even
But
at that, it's like 2 or 3 characters really that you're gonna find out about. That's
right,
it.
I mean, if we're gonna know everything about every single character, that's a bore, in my opinion. Like it was great with like Mandalorian. You know a little bit that he's the only child. He was rescued,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. They don't go in the sense of him training as a kid over and over and over again. You just see it and you move on.
True.
He finds Grogu, and there's a bond, immediate bond there. He sees himself in Grogu in the way of an only child, abandoned. Give me new characters. Keep it animated if you need to. That's what I love about Rebels. Rebels is awesome because almost every single character is new. The immediate ones are, especially the team
Yeah,
of the Ghost.
you don't get the
They,
characters that you remember until like later into the series of Rebels. I would,
yeah,
yeah. Rebels is like
you got
one of
Saul
my
Guerrero,
top favorite series of Star Wars, to be
right?
honest.
exactly. You have Saw Gerrera make an appearance. You have Lando make an appearance. You have Vader make an appearance. You have
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka make an appearance, but
Mhm.
they're not driving the story.
Obi-Wan,
You know,
Darth Maul, they're all there. It's just
they make an appearance as well. And again, they're not driving the story. And that's one of Dave Filoni's best series. And it was funny that people like ragged on it because they thought it was too kid compared to Clone Wars. And I think, no, this is so good because we don't have the same characters as a Clone Wars. It's just repeating the same characters, basically. Anakin and Obi-Wan. And
yeah.
then the clone troopers.
Ironically,
With
Resistance was more
with Yoda. Oh my God.
I heard Resistance got better, but I really couldn't get through the first few episodes.
I would not know because I could not fit. I think there's 2 seasons and there may be more. And I was just trying to be a completionist. Thank you. That just to see how it goes, but it was just so annoying. And the thing is, you have really good voice actors in it too. And I did like the animation. That's different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Iron Man Adventures. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Was that the one that was on MTV?
Kid.
Was it on MTV?
Possibly.
I think it was on MTV. No, Spider-Man was on MTV.
Yeah, it was one of them where definitely Cartoon Network, and it was young Tony Stark. He already has the iron suits. He already has that stuff. He's like, and he has Pepper Potts in high school with him, and Rhodes is also like. So they take what we know and they like make them all high school kids. It's like kind of like that. Was it Spidey Friends or something like that with like Miles, Gwen, and Peter all like first
Spider-Man.
graders.
Well, first graders? No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, no, like there's like really like it's like a little like they're all together. They're best of friends. Miles, Peter, and Gwen. And they all have spider powers. No, that's definitely.
I think I missed that one.
No. It's out now, so it's on Disney Plus.
Oh,
so
I definitely not watching that. Then it sounds like a wannabe Muppet Baby, but not as good. Thank you.
Exactly right.
I deserve credit for that poll.
That's a good one. All right, guys. So that is our Sith-sational review of Tales of the Jedi, currently streaming on Disney Plus. Until next time, will be the next time. I am Angel.
I'm Adan.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro. That was 40 minutes.
You just say love you.